Welcome to Under the Hood, from Beyond the Bottom Line. This is where we step inside the company and talk through the real experiences behind the work. In this episode, Ashton and Miguel discuss how they build resilience at work, focusing on daily habits, staying calm under pressure, and not letting a bad day win. Here's Miguel.
All right. Well, here we are on another special episode of Under the Hood. I'm here with Ashton. Ashton, how are you?
Miguel, I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. We're getting through it. Summer, the sun is shining. My kids are off school. I just want to be outside. I don't want to be in front of my computer. How are you dealing with all the fun activities around?
Oh, I'm great. I mean, I'm in Southern California, so we don't have any humidity. It's high 70s over here. I'm great. You dealing with the humidity out there?
I don't mind it. If the weather was better, I would have a hard time staying inside. It's like the World Cup. We just had the NBA Finals, and I don't want to work. Do you ever feel that?
Every day of my life.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Well, I'm just kidding. Every day in my life before I started working at this company.
I get it. I guess nobody really wants to work, but I've never been excited about what we're building and so excited to be outside at the same time. And I'm just conflicted right now. Maybe it's because I went to the World Cup the other day and I'm just like, this is how we should be living life.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you have morning beers and you get to watch Messi break a World Cup record, I get it.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely magical. And those Argentinians, man, they adopted me, which is great. They make songs out of anything. They made me a personal song. It's like El Contador. They were just singing The Accountant, just revving my engine, man. I was like, how do I do this every day?
Right. Actually, I was wondering, because you took one of our partners, one of our clients, or you went with one of our partners and client. Do you get to write that off or no?
I didn't write it off. No, entertainment's not deductible. So no, we take it on the chin for that. But this interview is really about, I want to talk about what makes you amazing at your job. And it's not an interview of you assessing yourself right now. It's more so what would you tell a younger version of yourself, or if someone's joining the firm and they watch this, what perspective is going to make them successful? You had no idea what we're talking about before we got on this. Let me just ask you, you do sales, you do onboarding. What is one habit that separates professionals who are good at their job and burn out and those that are able to do a great job and stay fresh?
Yeah, honestly, it's probably all around two things: organization of your day and boundaries. Because you need to organize your day in a specific way that you work the best. With me, when I first log on and I have all that energy, I just want to get through all my follow-ups, all my tasks, all my things that I can just kind of power out. So then when I get, a couple hours after that, I have this relaxation where I'm like, I just got rid of went through all my emails. I followed up on all my potential deals. Now let's actually do some of the work on my to-do lists. I'll typically take a little break between that, whether it's lunch, whether it's something else, just to kind of refresh. But at least for me, that works. But I know, for you, when you're fresh, you want to start working on those big, chunky, hairy items. We have to really deep think, but it took years and years for me to figure out how I work the best, looking at other people, how they work the best. Everyone's different. It's just like life, figuring out who the hell you are, what you like, what you're good at, when you're good at it. Noticing the days where you're like, hey, I just don't have it today. I need to move this to tomorrow because I'm going to do a worse job than I would have. So figuring out yourself, organizing yourself in a way that's best for you personally, and executing. And, if people try to throw things on your calendar or get you distracted, if it's an extreme emergency, yes, I'll help you with that. Is this something that can wait a couple hours or wait till tomorrow? Okay, good. Because I'm doing my stuff right now.
That's the boundaries piece. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the boundaries piece.
I like that. So for you, how much of what you're doing is on your to-do list?
So when I log in every day, the first thing I do is I check all my unread emails, and I hate unread emails. So the ones that I can respond to, I do. And then I go to my task list, which is really just follow-ups on specific deals. So, those that actually drive the sales forward and get things moving, I want to make sure that I'm always constantly driving those ones. And then on my to-do list where, the bigger items are the things that are deep think and whatnot, it could be anywhere. Like right now I have 5 on my immediate, I have 2 on my next, but that's been up to 40 at some point. It just really depends how busy I am or what's getting thrown my way.
You kind of have like a routine then, right? So like your routine is like you always do the same, whether it's going through inbox, then task lists, and then you've got like this kind of big hairy to-do list thing that you get to last.
Yeah, and honestly, it even starts before that. I go to the gym every single morning because me getting that sweat out, it's getting out all the yuck, all the fat, feeling good. Like, hey, I did something really productive with my body, I did something good, having a healthy breakfast. And then I sit down with this coffee cup every single day, and that's when I'm locked in. Time to lock in. I sweated. I feel good. I'm feeling great. Let's start doing this.
I love that. So for you, what does thriving look like beyond the numbers, beyond like a good sales month or, high NPS scores? Like what is thriving in your world, ignoring those metrics?
Honestly, thriving to me is being positive more in your life than you're being negative. I mean, the mind is so strong that you can reshape anything. You can reshape positives into negatives. You can reshape something that's never going to happen into anxiety or, the vice versa. So for me, thriving is when I know I have positivity in my brain and when I'm smiling, cracking jokes, being loose. Because if I'm a grumpy old Gus, I mean, when I'm grumpy, that is not the Ashton that's going to be doing a good job today. So it all starts with your mind, which working out helps body and mind at the same time, for me at least. So just keeping that healthy is really important to me.
Yeah, I like that. So you take care of yourself. Do you have like a mantra that keeps you positive, or like how do you, when things get rough, like how do you get back to being positive?
I think, honestly, I think of a few people. I think of my dad because no matter what the hell happens, he's always positive. I like to think of my prior self as well. When I say prior self, I mean my young, curious, growing up in the world self where everything is exciting, everything is new, and just how excited I was for everything. Then I just kind of analyze my life. Like, why do I not feel like that today? All right, is everything good with friends? Yeah, I have great friends. Is everything good with my family? Yeah, no major fights or anything right now. Is everything good financially? Yes, and good there. Like, I kind of analyze the different pockets of my life. And I'm like, dude, what the hell do I have to be worried about? Like, life is good. If I'm shooting 80% on everything in my life, like, I'm good.
Now, how do you keep that mindset when you get a not so positive client who decides to ruin your day?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen me over the last 8 years. I used to be brewing on that for like a day. It really get to me. And now, when that happens, I just think about like, oh, this guy's angry. That sucks. Is it my fault? Let me look into it. Oh no, it really is his fault. Okay, I'm gonna let that simmer for a little bit. Or if I'm like really mad, like what you taught me, I'll just draft up an email just saying everything that I want to say, sit on it for a couple hours, maybe send it to ChatGPT to soften it, and then I'll get back to him. But I'm no longer letting things ruin my day anymore. I mean, everyone perceives things differently. Everyone has different things that anger them. Everyone has their own perspectives. It gets less aligned the older we get. Like, people view things and think things so much differently the older we get. It's kind of being more understanding and empathetic.
I'll share something that I recently taught my 4-year-old son. Because like, what do you do when like your kids encounter someone that's rude in the world at the mall, or someone cuts you off, or someone like yells at me? Like I don't want them to see me react. So I told my son, like, when we encounter someone in the wild that is rude, wants to ruin our day, I was like, oh, they just really have to go to the bathroom. So like we've got like the stroller, someone like cuts me off and like bumps me and doesn't say anything. Like my son looks at me like, what's their problem? I'm like, they just really need to go number 2, and he laughs and I laugh. And I've kind of used that like in life, like if you get an angry email, I'm like, they've got an issue they need to deal with. Let me just respond to their email and hopefully they can take care of their business. So like that, I'm gonna start using that. That works with the kids, to build this empathy, because like really like you don't know what people are going. Kind of your point. Yeah, I suppose we learn fast, right? No, I'm curious. Like when things go wrong, what's your like mental recovery process? Like fact finding, strategy on how you communicate, walk us through that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if something goes wrong, the first thing is you got to understand all the facts because, I can have an initial emotional reaction. 9 times out of 10, that's wrong. I'm just, mad that he attacked me or she attacked me or attacking someone else within our company. So, just
How dare they have emotions?
you make me rise, I'm going to rise. But yeah, you got to understand the facts. So I ask everyone that was involved. I check the notes. I check, now that we have ping, shout out Camden. We can actually see what was discussed in meetings and things like that. So understanding what was said to them, what was communicated, what their expectations were, what actually happened. Was it our fault? Was it their fault? And then once you understand that, if it's their fault, you don't have to be like, hey, you were wrong. You shouldn't have done this. Be like, hey, look, this is what should have happened, or this is what we advise you to, blah, blah, blah. But it was our fault, falling on the sword, saying, hey, we messed up, sorry. And then just kind of figuring out the best way to say it in the most empathetic way, as well as the most proactive and solution-oriented way. And then saying it and seeing what they say, seeing it, offering a call, offering your time, offering to make it right.
Oh, definitely. I think too, like what I found is that falling on your sword, like the right people will be like, well, it wasn't, it's not that bad. I think Chris Voss, this thing, Never Split the Difference, where he says, you probably think I'm like the worst advisor in the world, something like that. And the reasonable people would be like, I don't think that, you guys are actually great. You need to be careful with it. Like the wrong person will be like, yeah, you are the worst advisor in the world. So I kind of use that as a litmus test too, to recover. And now that you know my tricks, if I use that on you, you have full permission to agree with whatever that worst thing is.
How were you doing that stuff, Miguel?
I think it's all intended to work on solving the problem. And I think that's what we need to remember is like, there's still a problem to solve. Like we can only spend so much time figuring out what went wrong. Like we need to make sure that you as a client end up with an advisor that's going to help guide you the best way for you. And if that's having someone in-house, and that works better for you, then that's what you need. If it's having somebody that is following with you every week, that's probably not us, but if it is someone that checks in with you on a quarterly basis, and really understands your situation, then like that's reasonable and we can do it. Like, let's solve the problem that you need solved. And if we're not the best partner, that's something that I had to deal with because I think I wanted to be something for everybody and then realized that's not the way you do it. Actually, what you want to be is a lot of things for, select number of people. What does thriving look like on a bad week for you?
It actually goes hand in hand with parenting, is not making things worse. Just make sure that everyone's safe, nothing crazy happen, that you're not escalating too hard, and that you're as calm as you can be, and just weathering the storm, honestly. Because with kids, like my issue in the past was when my daughter would freak out, I would match her. Then she'd go higher, then I'd go higher. And now I'm trying to work on like, all right, let's just, if she keeps rising, fine, but I'm going to try to stay here. But yeah, just weathering the storm and just not making it worse.
Yeah. It's actually it's very insightful. I'm learning from you, Ashton. Thank you. And if a young professional is listening, younger version of you, younger version of me, and they're wondering, and they're feeling stuck, what's one thing you would tell them?
I mean, for me, it's different for everyone. It just depends on your experiences and what has happened to you in your career. But for me, the number one thing that I could say is if you don't feel like you have the right manager for you, get a new one. Because I have had good managers and they accelerated my growth so much and they made me so much better, which in the end made my career benefit way more because of this one manager. But then I had wasted years. Like I'm talking like 3 or 4 years of my most hungriest years where I was the most energetic, willing to learn, that I was just forgotten about or ignored or didn't learn crap. So, if you're with a bad manager young in your career, get out, get someone who really is going to nurture you, grow you, be there for you, give you feedback, because that's when you're really going to grow and you'll unlock potential in yourself you had no idea that you had. I mean, you brought out so many things in me that I didn't know that I had or that I assumed that I had, but it wasn't proven until you pushed me in certain situations or made me think about things differently, or you would ask questions where I'm like, oh, that's just really good. That's a great way to think about it. So that's my number one advice. Just have the right manager.
Yeah. And if you are business owner, I think having the right peer group or mentor is kind of on par with. Well, Ashton, thank you for another lovely episode of your insights. Much appreciated.
Of course, man.
Stay positive.